Okay, good morning. Let's see, minimize. Where is he? Can you hi, can you see us? We can't see you.
I can see you. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, I think, okay, there we go. I can't
Hello.
make that, let me, I'm sorry, one second, full screen. There we go. Okay, good morning. You're speaking with third graders near Los Angeles, California at New Academy Canoga Park.
Wow. Outside of my hello everybody, can you wave your hands at me and say hello? Hello. Good stuff. Well, it's World Book Day. Did you know that? It's World Book Day. Yeah. Anybody told you that yet? Yeah. So what I've been doing today is I've been going around the world from my home here in England. So I've been going to Croatia, to India, to Dubai. I went to the US about 3 times, the UK, I've got Australia this evening. So I've been travelling around the world via Skype to speak to students all over the place. I'm going to let you into a secret before I start anything. All students around the world are exactly the same. They're all great, creative, good thinkers, and we're all the same. That's one thing I found out as an explorer. And I believe you just watched a film of mine. Did you see that? Yeah. Okay, so you know where I work. So what I want to do for this short period of time we have today is just to talk through why I'm an explorer, because in this modern era, do we really need explorers? I'm going to tell you about a few of the places that I've been to. I'm going to tell you how to defend yourself from a polar bear. Do you want to know how to learn how to do that? Yeah! California has got a lot of polar bears, so I'll tell you about that. And then we'll take you onto Mount Everest, we'll take you to the North Pole, and I think we'll be exhausted by then, so we then need to have questions. Okay, so a lot to cover, but if you've got questions ready for afterwards, that'll be fantastic. So to begin with, I live in a place called Stratford-on-Avon, which is a little village area within the UK. It's very green, there's no snow around, and this is where I live. But where I work is something completely different. So I've operated on over 35 major expeditions around the world. I've mainly worked in cold places like Antarctica and the Arctic Circle, the Himalayas. I've worked in the American, Norwegian and Canadian high Arctic. And the main purpose for exploration for me is this. So I come into schools, I give talks via Skype, and rather than sit in my office here at home, I go into the death zone on Everest. So above 7,500 meters up, where the oxygen levels are really low, I connect with schools from there. So I bring the classrooms right up onto the mountainside, or I take you into the Arctic. So when you Skype live with me, you can see the coldness of the Arctic behind me, and I can really bring you into the area. Let me give you a better example of this. When you head up into the death zone on Mount Everest, this is where the oxygen levels are very low. So when you breathe, it's very deep breathing. And when you move along, your blood is moving around your body like thick soup, so the oxygen isn't getting to your brain, so you don't think very well. All your decisions are swayed, and basically you've got 48 hours to live. So your body can only take 48 hours before it starts dying. So you need to keep your wits about you. Now in this position, climbers are going very slowly, thinking about the journey and making their way to the summit of Mount Everest. What I was doing was I was tied by a rope onto an anchor in the snow so I wouldn't slip off the mountain. I was sat on a bit of ice with a computer in front of me, and I was linking directly with a school in Australia. 200 children like yourselves were sat in a sports hall with an explorer standing on Mount Everest, giving them a live talk from his area. And that's what I feel modern day exploration is about. connecting wonderful students like you to the very extremes of the planet. I got some funny looks that day. Only a few hours later, when we started to ascend the final bit of Mount Everest, I was in minus 45. Now, minus 45 is a lot colder than your freezers at home. And when you expose your hand to minus 45, the blood that moves around it starts to harden. So the tips of your fingers start to go white, and then they can go black, and then they can die, so you don't have fingers. So you need to make sure that when you're operating in those areas, that you keep your blood flowing and you keep moving, you keep thinking. It's a very dangerous area to be in. And nearing the summit of Mount Everest, one of my friends started to suffer a lot. So he could have lost his life that night. But what we did, with the summit in sight with only a few hundred meters to go, I stopped the expedition. And we brought him down the mountain and we rescued him. He lived, and we all climbed again a few years later. And the important thing about exploration is, on the one hand, it's the most fantastic thing in the world to go and discover your own planet. But on the other hand, it can be very, very dangerous if you're not trained or equipped well for the journey itself. And that's why I do it. It's such a buzz for me to go out there and connect with guys like you. Now, last year, we did an expedition to the North Pole. And one of the biggest dangers of the North Pole is polar bears. Has anybody seen a polar bear before?
No. Yes.
Maybe in a zoo or something like that. What colour do you think a polar bear is?
White.
White, that's good. Can you give me another colour?
Black.
Black, I like that. If you shave a polar bear, don't shave a polar bear though. It's black underneath, so it's very dark underneath. Now, if you draw a polar bear, then you probably draw it white, so I agree with that. But what other colour do you think it is?
Gray.
Like a grey, yeah, underneath. Also cream, it looks like a creamy colour, But if you pluck the hair of a polar bear and look underneath the microscope, then the actual colour of the hair is transparent. It's see-through. So just like a window, you can see straight through the hair. So actually, the hairs of a polar bear are see-through. And that's because inside there's a hole running all the way through the hair. And as the air whips around the polar bear, it gets trapped inside and it keeps the bear nice and warm. So the bear traps air to keep the body nice and warm, which is a great thing. Bears can run just as fast as a horse. They can smell up to 40 kilometers away. And really, they haven't seen humans before. So when we operate out there, they're just inquisitive. They can see all these colors, get all these new smells, and they're just seeing what we're like. We have to defend ourselves. So rather than kill a bear, which we don't do, we set off fireworks, and it explodes in front of the bear, and the bear runs away. So we need to scare a bear away. Now, I've got a picture here on my iPhone that I thought I'd take of one of my photographs here, and I'm going to show you the teeth of a polar bear in a second. So this will give you an idea of what the teeth look like of a polar bear. And to even better that, I've brought in a real live polar bear tooth to show you. Look at the size of that. Look, if I put it next to my mouth, you can see the size of it. Yeah? And I've got a massive head. But you can see the size of it. But this tooth will dig into meat. It's very, very sharp on the end. Does anybody want to put their finger up to the monitor? Put your finger up to the monitor then, like that.
Okay, go ahead.
Go on, the guy at the front in the red. Put your finger up. I'm just going to scratch the end of your finger, okay? That's quite sharp, Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Yeah, good stuff. I like that. So polar bears are really dangerous animals, and this is one of the problems last year that we had. We shot a documentary, of our route to the North Pole. The Russians that landed the helicopter on the ice didn't want us put us there, said it was too dangerous. But we got to the North Pole, we shot a documentary, and there's a film coming out this year called A Race Against Time, which is about climate change and humans operating in the extremes. So what I will do is tell Skype about this, and they'll inform all you guys, and hopefully you'll get a showing of that in your film, of it in your school, if that's okay. You can see the whole film before anybody else does, really. Next year we're doing an expedition to Mount Everest, and it's called 8848, which is the height of Mount Everest. But we want to link to not 10,000 students around the world, which we did last time, but 800 million students worldwide. So we will do an ascent of Mount Everest, and we'll link 800 million students worldwide to the mountain. My reason for that is not to plant a flag at the summit of Mount Everest, but to basically bring in as many students worldwide into the most extreme classroom on the planet. And this is open free to schools around the world. So any schools that want to get involved, they just need to link onto the Skype website or go onto expedition8848.com, sign on. Lonely Planet and Skype will bring you into the expedition. So it's all free. So teachers, if you can do me a favour, if you haven't signed up for it yet, do so, and encourage other schools to do so as well. Free program, and it's going to really inspire a lot of students, hopefully, to get involved. So,
Absolutely.
now what I want now is some questions. Have you guys got some questions for me?
Okay, let us...
Do you want to pick them, teachers? Because
Yeah.
they look scary to me.
Yeah,
I don't want to...
That sounds good. We're working on that now. I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Come on up. Introduce yourself. This is wonderful. Thank you so much.
It's okay. And by the way, I've got loads of stories, so you're going to have to shut me up.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely will. Are you kidding? I definitely will take you up on that. Okay, introduce yourself, sweetheart.
My name is Melissa, and my question to you is that were you cold? Were you really, really cold when you went to the Arctic?
Yeah, Melissa, before I answer that, put your fist up to the monitor and give me a fist bump.
That's
Can you
awesome.
bring your fingers back like that?
Like this?
Do it again. Ready? Boom! That's great. You can have a lot of fun on Skype, you see. It's not just talking, is it? So, you know, when I first went to the Arctic, I was in fear. I had fear running through my body because it's such an intense place to be in. And I didn't know how I was going to survive. I was close to tears. But I learned over 70 days how to not only survive, but how to appreciate this beautiful part of our planet. And I think the biggest thing of why I explore is because I love the environment that I work in. It inspires me. So that's why I'm trying to bring it to people like you, because you look like an awesome person. Am I right? You are? Okay, I thought you were. So I want to bring these stories to people like you so you can enjoy the planet a lot more. Okay, good question, thank you.
Thank you.
Fear is a good thing, by the way. Fear is a good thing. It keeps you on your toes, keeps you sharp, keeps you thinking well. Hello?
Hi, my name is Diwa, and have you been planning on a world tour?
A world tour for expeditions or talks. If it's a world tour for talks, if you've got an agent who can get in touch with me, that'd be great. And we could go 50-50 with everything. What do you reckon?
Does that sound good?
No, I haven't got time to do a world tour for talks. That's not a problem. But a world tour, well, you know, I think the reason why people enjoy what I do is because I've specialised in the cold. So I haven't spread myself out doing kayaking, mountaineering, blah, 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 which some people do. I've just focused on cold regions of the planet. And that's where I've learned how to appreciate and gain knowledge, if you like, and tell stories, because that's what we do as explorers. So my next expeditions will be in Greenland and then probably other cold areas as well. All right, so that Alaska, I want to work again in Alaska running dog teams and stuff.
Ooh.
So that's what I do, really. Is that okay? Okay, no problem. So you need to tell me if I'm doing things wrong. I'm okay there, yeah?
You're doing great. We're loving it.
Oh, hi, buddy.
Hello. My name
What's
is
your-
Andy.
Andy, nice to meet you, Andy. Let's shake hands.
I love that.
Good to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions?
We just should stare each other out.
My question is, I heard that you only travel in the cold areas. Have you ever traveled in a hot area?
Yeah, and that's, I used to get that question a lot. So last year, I crossed Oman, the desert in Oman. It's called the Empty Quarter. And I thought, well, it's going to be like the Arctic. It's a desert. Desert's a desert, eh? But it's not. And it was very, very hot. And even though it was extraordinary in the fact that we were, running alongside like 50 camels some days, it was tough for me because my body is used to cold weather. And let me just tell you that how this works, yeah? So when you go to school and it's freezing cold outside, and you come to school and get in your warm school, your body warms up. Then when the bell goes and you go out for a break, your body cools down again because you're outside. So your body never adjusts to being in one temperature. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're a polar explorer and you head out of the door and you know you're not going to be in a building for 50 days, then your body adjusts to the cold. So for the first week it's tough. But anything's tough in the first week. And then your body adjusts and you start to adapt. So you can actually get used to the cold. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So people think, wow, how do you live out in the freezing temperatures? Well, you live because you become part of the environment. You immerse yourself in it. So yeah. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, mate. It's nice meeting you.
Hi, my
Hello.
name is Raphael.
What's your question, buddy?
What helped you learn what to do in a dangerous situation?
Oh, well, I've got a great answer for you for this. But, when I was younger, I was in the military, yeah? And in the military, they would teach you discipline. But discipline meaning that I could look after my kit and myself, and I started to sort of, do all that, which helped me for expeditions. Then I joined rescue. But rescue taught me something which you just asked me. I used to deal with things in rescue which were pretty horrific, saving people's lives and things like that. But what they taught me was to not have any emotion when I was doing it, not to get too attached to it. So you just deal with the situation professionally as trained with your equipment. So when we go out there, I adopt the same attitude of not getting emotionally attached to a situation. So we deal with stressful situations effectively. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, you've got to tell me because it's really important. I love your t-shirt, by the way. It's very colourful. Fantastic. That's all right. That's a good question. Hopefully the answer was all right for you. Well done, mate.
Hi, my name is Leslie. What is your favorite animal you've seen over there?
I think my favourite animal would probably be, I love polar bears, but I think the Arctic fox that we saw, and he came right up to the tent and we actually fed him out of our hands. And you can see the film on my website, yeah, but we had a bit of chocolate and we held it out like this, and the Arctic fox came up and was just tentatively eating out of our hands. A beautiful animal. All these animals that we see haven't been affected by human beings. So human beings can be absolutely awesome and wonderful and loving and caring like you guys, and on the other end of the scale, they can be nasty, eh? So animals don't know what humans are capable of. So when you see them in their own habitat, they will come up to you and they will eat out of your hand and they will think you're a nice animal to meet. Okay, so we respect that. I've walked across islands where there's been 50 to 100 Arctic hares grazing, and we've walked through the centre of them, and they haven't batted an eyelid. So that's how wonderful these places can be.
Thank you.
I like your little ribbons in your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
They're very cool.
Hi, my name is Valentina, and my question is, how many hours can you survive in the North Pole?
But it all depends on what you've brought with you. So we take our food and fuel and everything that a human needs to live. So the basics that a human needs is shelter, food, water, and air. So you need air as well, which kind of works when you're heading up to Everest. So they're the 4 survival things that you need. In fact, the iPhone doesn't come into that survival sector, okay? So you don't need an iPhone all the time. You keep doing this all the time, eh? Okay, don't worry about that. So 4 things you need to survive. As long as you've got them, that's great. But as soon as you don't have one of them, then you need to think about stopping the expedition. So if I'm going for a 50-day expedition, I'll pack for a 55-day expedition. Just 5 days extra, just in case. Okay?
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Claudia, and my question is, what made you decide to be an explorer?
What made me decide? I think it was just that I fell in love with the environment. So when I went out there the first time, as I said to your friend earlier, I was very scared, but I learned how to love the environment. And I think I just felt quite passionate about it. And the problem with finding a passion in life is it's difficult to make it your a living out of it. Except if you're a teacher, because teachers are always passionate about what they do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
See, thank you.
You know what? Let me tell you a secret. Push your ear against the monitor, and I'll tell you a secret. Come closer. Push your ear. Teachers work really, really, really hard, and they really care about their students. Don't tell anybody else that, okay?
We all heard. Hi, my name is Jeffrey, and the question that I have for you is, what was the first place you traveled to?
First place I travelled to. Okay, first place I was in the military. The first ever time I flew out of the country, we were carrying weapons with us. That's incredible, isn't it? And we were in the military, and I flew to Germany. So that's the first place we went to in the military. Then I worked in Kenya. The first real place where it shocked me how different the world was I flew to Africa at 17 years old with a team with weapons and that in the military. And as the dust settled, Maasai warriors came out of the dust and walked towards us. So at 17-year-old with a weapon, I was stood in front of these Maasai warriors. And I thought, how incredible is this? And they came on patrol with us, and they were great guys. So life was very different, even that moment. So, if you could explore anywhere, where would you go? Do you know? It doesn't have to be. You know, I asked this question to somebody in Dubai earlier today, and they said, I'd like to go to New York. So you don't have to go to a jungle or a mountain, you can go to a city. You know, the world's fantastic, eh? In fact, you know what? You live in California, so you live in a lovely part of the world, don't you? Yeah, of course you do.
You're welcome to come anytime.
Oh, my word.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I think I'd melt if I came to California.
We make sure that you were okay. We have 4 more questions for you.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Taylor. Have you saw any more animals besides Arctic fox or polar bear?
Yeah, oh, well, you know, I've seen loads. So, do you know what a muskox is?
Yeah.
It's a buffalo, like a buffalo, eh? So, a muskox caribou, which is a reindeer, beluga whales, which are incredible if you look them up, seals, loads of seals, Arctic hares, what else is that's in the Arctic? Antarctica, you've got your fantastic penguins. I've got a penguin here, actually. Hang on a sec. Don't get too excited.
What? So that's
This is my penguin. So, as an explorer, I have a penguin on my desk at home. That's not bad, is it, eh? What shall I? He hasn't got a name, you know. What name shall I give my penguin?
Give him a suggestion. Thinking.
What's your name again? Kayla the penguin. That sounds good. Hello, Kayla. We'll call her Kayla for today, yeah?
Sounds good. Say thank you.
No, thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and my question is, can you live in Antarctica or the North Pole?
Well, permanently, if you... At the South Pole, there's a US research center, yeah? So it's funded by the US government, and it's right at the South Pole itself. It's like a massive sort of spaceship-style research center. I went in, it's got basketball courts, it's got a garden, and it's incredible, right at the South Pole in Antarctica. And they do a lot of good research there. So they can live there all year round, because it's well heated and that. But really, these places at certain times of the year just can't be lived in outside because it's too tremendously cold to live in these regions. That's why we don't live in the areas, really. We do research. Okay?
Thank you.
Do you want to do a fist pump before you go?
Oh, I love it.
I like that. It's good. I kind of like that more than you do, I think.
Hi, my name is Tamara, and I was wondering if there was a place that you want to go that you never been to.
Tamara, I'm going to let you into a secret, right? My love is exploration, but my real need in life is to be a spaceman. All right? I'd love to be an astronaut. And if you think that I've been in the military, in rescue, as a polar explorer, it's kind of a natural step for me, isn't it, to be an astronaut? But I'd love to do that. It's something which is, you know, I love watching programs about it, and that would be my want, to go and see what's outside. But I've been as close to being an astronaut as possible, working in these remote areas of the planet. So, you know, every day for me is exciting. Teachers will understand what I'm going to say next. I never have a Monday morning. We'll ask them about that later. Okay.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
here comes our last question.
Oh, no way. Hi, buddy. You're the sort of guy who needs a fist bump. Come on. Big one.
There you go.
Ready? Yeah, good stuff. Excellent. Right, what's your question, mate?
How did it take you to Antarctica?
How did you get there? How did you get to Antarctica?
Oh, that's a good question, because people are quite negative about this, but I have to fly. Explorers nowadays fly to these areas, whereas before they would set off in these big old rickety boats and then head down there. That's real exploration. So we fly to these areas. Sometimes we get criticised for making documentaries about climate change, but then we fly to the region. And my response to that, without going into it too much, because you're quite young people, my response is that we're not the real problem in this situation. The real problem, bigger industries and politics and things like that. So we're the guys trying to put messages out. But yeah, in answer to you, we fly to them. We fly there, which is good fun. And as you get closer to these extreme areas, the planes get smaller and smaller, till you've got a little plane that lands you in Antarctica itself. So everything's in a measure.
Okay, say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I
Good
have
stuff.
a couple questions for you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Curious, when you get, so since the weather is so freezing, and with planes and technology, and how are those equipped to handle such cold extreme temperatures? And the other question is, how are you sponsored? How are you able to go the places that you go?
Yeah, hopefully Stipe's listening to this, eh? Regarding the first question was about sort of how do the planes operate in such cold environments? Is that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pilots are the best in the world. It's a company called Kemboric Air. They operate in the north and the south, and they run the best pilots in the world. Pilots that can sea ice in the most dangerous of conditions. And we, as explorers, respect that. So they're the decision makers. We aren't, so other people's lives at risk. And, there's films of me shaking a plane out of a frozen ice. So the plane stopped for too long and it's frozen into the ice. So we've gone up and shot if you try and do that at Heathrow Airport, they'd arrest you. But it's kind of trying to get the plane out of the ice, pushing the plane along the runway, thumping the plane against the ice to test whether it's going to go through or not before it lands. All these techniques that they have. So it's not just the planes, it's the remarkable pilots. And now I've said all those words at my old age, I've kind of forgot the second part of that question.
That's okay. I was just curious how you're able to travel the places that you go. How do you go by sponsorship, or how does that work out?
Our sponsorship, that was it. No, that was a great question. Yeah, we're only as good as our sponsors, really. And if you do, the students in front of you, including the teachers, have got a country that they live in where they can access expeditions like Everest and places like that. And they cost a lot of money, but they are doable. You can pay for them. But what I do is try and create big programs around it, so the price goes up. But what we try and do is create great marketing and great positive messages which allows sponsors to come on board. And Skype have been very, very supportive over the last 8 years with me, and Microsoft as well. So that's been great. But they're no fools. If they don't see it fits in with what they want to do, they won't sponsor you. So part of what I do is a businessman as well. I have a lot of meetings, kiss a lot of frogs, as we say, and just try and remain positive and seize opportunities. It's a tough game we're in, but and when you get to the ice, it's then down to you. But until then, you need people to believe in your own vision and what you're trying to achieve.
Wonderful, thank you. 2 more questions were just given to me. How long are your expeditions usually, and do you travel alone, or how big is your team that you travel with?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it all depends what we're doing, but if it's the South Pole, North Pole, then you're on about a 50-day expedition. Then you've got training in the back end of that, so you might be out for a good 2 or 3 months. It all depends in that case. Yeah, there was another part to that question. I'm getting so old, aren't I?
No, that's okay. I know I'm throwing 2 at you at a time. And then,
it's all right.
how many are usually on your team when you travel?
Oh yeah, well that's the beauty of exploration. People think it's just about putting on a rucksack and going. Well, it's everything to do with exploration. So if you go on your own, which I sometimes do, you then understand more. It becomes more about yourself, and you get to understand yourself a little bit better. But then if you go as a team, the advantage of going as a team is you create a more rounded memory. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So in 20 years' time, I'll look back on my solo expeditions and go, I mean, I can't remember your second question, so how am I going to remember my solo expedition in 20 years' time?
That's what a friend
So I think I need to travel more with people, because then they can help with my memory. Yeah?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can definitely sympathize with that. That's great.
Just a little bit more than that, though. Something very interesting is, I feel, is the toughest teams I've led are all male teams, and especially if they're triathletes, because they want to go, and there's a lot of testosterone. The best teams that I've led are mixed teams, because you've got a mixture of thought and a mixture of physical sort of presence there as well. So it's better to run a mixed team.
That's awesome.
In my opinion.
So as a backpacker myself, not to compare myself with you at all, but I know when I get home from trips, I'm definitely craving certain foods. When you get home from a trip, because I know you're not eating like you normally eat, what are you most looking forward to eating when you get back?
Well, everybody knows that the English cook the best food in the world. I was just waiting for the laughter then, sorry. And you suppose you expect me to say fish and chips or something like that, but no, it's, what do I crave? So when I reached the South Pole, I was craving, well, this is English actually, I was craving fresh bread with cheese and cucumber. So cucumber sandwiches, how posh is that? Me and the Queen, yeah? But you know, it's things like fresh crunchy stuff, like apples. You know, you really want to bite into an apple. You really want to have a crispy salad, or, you know, some fresh meat or something like that if you're a meat eater. So it's anything that sort of is the opposite to what you've been having, really. If you watch Castaway, do you remember that film with Tom Hanks?
Yes, I don't know if the students.
For like 3 or 4 years he was away or something, he just ate fish food.
Yeah.
And when he came back and they went into the little thing, he picked up, they made a buffet and it was all shrimp. And he just looked at it and thought, oh my God, what am I eating? So anything you can get which you haven't been eating. Basically.
Excellent. Makes sense. Okay, go ahead. We have one teacher question. She's going to come up right now.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Yates. Hi.
Hello, Mrs. Yates.
So you've had so many life
Do you,
experiences.
hang on a second, do you do fist bumps
I
as well,
do,
Mrs.
of
Yates?
course. Let's go. So you've had so many life experiences. What advice do you like to give to kids or to these students?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So there's 3 things I like to put out as a message. The first one is about modern day exploration, okay, because it's important to understand that we need explorers. We need explorers to verify things, to tell stories, and to inspire, I think. The second thing is about the environment. My job as an explorer is to humanize climate change. Living in California, living in the centre of the UK, we think we're detached from climate change, but we're not. If we say there's been a terrorist attack, people listen because they want to know what's going on because it's humanised. So I need to do that through my documentaries. And I do that by showing people how ordinary I am and then filming in honesty what I can see and bringing in climate scientists. And the third thing, the final thing that I want students, and this is so important for me, the third thing is about thinking differently about life. Because it's within anybody to change their life at any given moment. And your life is run by yourself. So whatever you want to choose to do, you've got the chance to do it, especially in countries that we live in. We've got tremendous opportunities. And to think differently is a fantastic thing to do. And I know that's what you teachers try and install in them. You know, they can learn academically what's going on, and you'll get people who are great achievers and some struggle a lot. But if you can make nice, decent human beings out of these guys and allow them to think differently, then I think you've kind of achieved your goal, really. So.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Wow, this has been absolutely amazing. What a fun treat. You are such a fun person to Skype with, too. I hope we can Skype with you again. This has been amazing.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to take you up on that offer because I need to come over and get some suntan. You know,
we are
I
ready.
don't look that, but I've turned the lights out because I'm very white.
Well, we welcome you anytime. We would love to host you at our school. Thank you. Keep on doing what you're doing. We're going to enjoy everything you said. Oh, sure.
So do you guys want to come in? Teachers, you want to come in? Is it okay to put this on the Skype site?
Yes.
Or is it...
Yes, everybody that's in this room has permission. We're good. So what are we going to do? You want us by the screen?
There's 2 things we can do. This is fine as it is. I can take a photograph here.
Okay.
But if you want to take a photograph,
Oh, yes.
then after I've taken this, maybe the kids want to turn around,
Yes.
and then I'll be behind you. Does that make sense?
That would be great.
Okay, so if you want to lift that camera up slightly, you just drop it a little bit. That's it. If you just gather around, then I'll take a photograph. Teachers, do you want to get in?
Okay. No, it's not there. We're just going to do the best we can. Everyone just try to squeeze in. Don't bump the table.
3.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Hands down. Hands down.
Hey, let me stay there. Let me show you this picture.
Now what we're going to try to do,
Okay, take care, guys.
listen, we're going to try to do this. I'm going to move this table without bumping this area. You're going to try to just stand around the screen, and then we'll show him that picture. My next class is almost here, so do it quietly and quickly. Oh, yeah, just turn around where you are, even better. Thank you.
Yes, everyone just turn around and face this Margarita. Put your bottom.
Thanks, you saved me.
Sit down, sit down, sit. Turn and sit. On your bottom. Sit on your bottom.
Okay, everybody.
All right, ready to say cheese? Ready? Everybody look at Miss Spector. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Alex. Cheese. Hands down.
Awesome. Okay, I'll show you.
Okay, guys. Hey, can you send it? Is that okay? Can you send it to me? If you go to Markwood Explorer, if you go to markwoodexplorer.com, or go to markwoodexplorer.com. I'll type it in for you.
That sounds
Okay.
good. This was incredible. Thank you. Everyone say thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.